All right, so we have come to the start of today's event, and we would like to welcome everybody officially in May 2025 workshop. And we're very pleased to have you all here. My name is Olayemi Ejemai, and I'm going to be your host for this evening. It's the Association of Children's Authors and Illustrators of Nigeria. Tonight, however, we're going to be talking with Mrs. Bukola. I have a pleasure of meeting her in the past, and we share a very similar journey. We're both authors and we're both special needs mom. And tonight, she will be focusing on expanding your book reach through government collaborations. And if we go through her profile, you will see how dexterous she is. Mrs. Bukola Ainde is the founder of a Diary of a Special Needs Mom initiative under P413 Foundation. She is a lawyer, a storyteller, a disability inclusion and inclusive education advocate. She holds a Bachelor of Law degree and a Master's in Managerial Psychology. She started her career as a litigation lawyer before moving on to becoming a training and development consultant. Bukola is a neuro-linguistic programming NLP practitioner and a trauma care coach. Based on her experience as a mother of a special needs child, Bukola has become a voice for families who have children living with disabilities in Nigeria. She's passionate about inclusive education and disability inclusion. She has published 6 books to promote disability awareness. One of her books, My Name is Nimi, has been translated into 6 languages. She has produced a written play titled The Gods Are Strange, which is to promote diversity and disability inclusion in the community. And this has been staged in Corona Secondary School, Egbara, and a theatre group in the JOS partnership with Joseph Sut College. Our current work in 2024 is the promotion of disability and inclusive education amongst children through book reading in secondary and primary schools in Lagos and Nigeria. This project has been able to reach out to over 100 students. She has written many articles in several national newspapers as well as online magazines. Bella Niger on disability inclusion. Bukola has produced 2 documentaries to promote inclusive education in Nigeria and a short film on mental health of parents with special needs children titled Mind Shift. Bukola is a passionate and prolific speaker who engages the government, corporate organizations, schools, religious centers on disability awareness and management. She has organized several programs to facilitate disability awareness among students. She has also coached and mentored over 100 moms for children with learning disability, with children living with special needs. She lives with her husband and 2 lovely daughters in Lagos, Nigeria. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome Mrs. Bukola Aide. Mrs. Bukola, over to you.
Thank you very much. Can you make me a co-host and also pin me?
Okay, let's see that.
Okay, in the meantime, good evening, everybody. So just say hello, hi in the chat room. Let me feel your vibes that you're here. When you're talking on Zoom, it's
Okay.
as though you're all alone. Yeah. Hi, Rebecca. Good. Have you done that? Oh, beautiful.
They've been done. Cassiana should be on standby to do that for us. I've pinged you, however.
I see you. Okay, so it's a pleasure to be here, and I'm going to make it very so that we can get to the question and answer because I know you all have lots of questions for me. And I had to send my kids, upstairs so that there'll be peace and quiet in here. So it's a pleasure to be here. Let me like, I guess this is it. Can you all see my slide?
Yes.
Okay, great. It's a pleasure to be here, and I'll be speaking on expanding your book reach through government collaboration. Let me minimize this. Oh boy. Let me go again. Pardon me. Okay, let me share again. Okay, I'm sorry, there's so many tabs that I have to minimize. Yes, awesome. Okay, you may not be able to see me, but if you can see me, that's fine. So let me just quickly get to this. I'm going to start by, um, I'm going to look at my journey into writing. Then I'll move into straight away how to prepare your book for submission. And my subject matter will be Lagos State because that is the one I have done and I've succeeded with. Then we'll go on to how to get your books approved, opportunities for book adoption in public programs, building relationships, challenges you find along the way, and what you can do to overcome it. All right. So my journey into writing, you know, as a young, because I know we have different people here. Some of us may have published our books. Some are struggling with the manuscript. Some are thinking, the manuscript is still an idea in your head. You're still thinking of, okay, you write a page today, you write pages tomorrow. So how did I get into writing? As a young child, it was just two of us and my elder sister went into school early. So I was home and I was bored. So to escape, my world of being the only child, in quotes, I would read, all those books, usually the Disney books, and the different books that I could lay my hands on. When I didn't find Disney books, I went to other books, even as far as Mills and Boons and also I got into the world of reading. And later on, I realized that I'm able to express myself in writing even better than speaking. So that was where I developed, the ability, to write. Then again, before I even started writing, I published a magazine. I think it was a monthly magazine. It was called Flip. It was an entrepreneurial series, and I would just write, articles, and I will publish it. However, when I had my child with special needs, I had stopped working, and I had gone through a series of. It was my grief moment and I just didn't know what to do at that moment. I didn't want to go out to work again. I was lost. So I had to look inwards to say, what do I really like doing? I knew I loved, writing. So I applied for a writing course with a particular company. And that was where I honed my creative writing. So from there, I wrote 3 books. My name is Nimi. That was about my daughter, and I was practically answering questions because as I when my daughter was 5 years, right, she was on a wheelchair, she was still using diapers, she couldn't talk well. Kids would come to my house and ask, why is she like this? So I started to write that book to answer the question, to be able to explain to children. And from there, I wrote other books. And from there, I was able to tell my story, True Naked and Not Ashamed. And from there, I wrote the the bravest dog. I'm actually holding it. Maybe I'll show you. It's not here. So the bravest dog was, because there are always competitions and applications online by foreign organizations in Nigeria. So you may also want to look out for that. I saw online on the institute, they were asking for Nigerian authors to submit their work for, it was a 2 weeks internship. They wanted us to come together with illustrators, and they put us in hotels, fully sponsored, and we're able to bring out storybook, which the storybooks were published by Kachifo Farafina. Okay, so with that, I also have many pending manuscripts that I'm also working on. What I found is that, when it comes to stories, I'm able to, if you wake me up, I can sit down 5 hours and writing a story. That is where my passion is. I can also write nonfiction, but when it comes to telling stories, so you need to know where your passion is, and you will not struggle. If you stay in where you have the skill, you can hone it, hone your skills, and you will not struggle. So that's how I got into writing. Okay. I've been told, to talk about how you can get your book approved into the government curriculum. So the one I have done, right, which would also apply to the federal government, but I've not decided to go that way. Maybe I would, when I go that way, then you can call me back to tell you how I've done it. But the one I have done is the one that I want to put you through, so that you will also be able to. So two of my books, the Gods Are Strange, and My Sister is Special, it's actually in Lagos State's list of approved book list for 2023 to 2026. Okay, so now, how can you, as a writer, you have books already, or you don't even have a book, and you want to write and get your book approved to the book list for Lagos State? I'm very certain that whatever I tell you today will also apply to other states, you know. But it's the one I have done that I would actually show you. So the first thing I would advise you is to buy um, the approved book list. Okay, you can see me, right? I can see because I'm using my phone as well. So this is what it looks like. This is for the primary school. I searched my library. I can't find the secondary school, but it's still basically the same thing. So you're going to buy it, right? I didn't buy it, so I just did my own, blindly. But now that I know better, I would advise you to buy it for both the primary and the secondary school, as it will be a guide. So when you buy it, you see for the primary school, each subject is there. The list of books approved, the author, publishers, date of publication is there. So if you're wondering, okay, in what category will my book, because your book has fall under one category. I want to believe that most people here are storytellers. But if you're not, and you don't have to tell stories, right? So decide that, oh, even though I'm a storyteller, I want to write a good book on maybe history, or I'm good in chemistry. I want to write a book on chemistry. You can decide to do that, But the what I did was for literature. So your storybook, you need to first of all, get approved, to know whether your book falls under, to know where you want to actually apply. Maybe it's primary, maybe it's secondary school. You have to choose that, because this is under basic and secondary education for Lagos State. So Ministry of Education is divided into two. You have basic and secondary, and you have the tertiary. We have two commissioners, one for the basic, there's one for the tertiary school. So the one you want to apply for is for the basic and secondary school. Okay, so you determine your subject. What do I want to write? You know, then after determining your subject, the quality, you have to ensure that there are no errors. There are no errors. Don't say, because I've seen some writers that will say, oh, my brother is very good in English, he can edit. Please look for a professional editor. That is what they do. And ensure that it's not just someone you've not seen their work. Because on Instagram and Facebook, we see so many editors, and when you read what they have edited, is riddled with mistakes. So ensure that even if this person says, "Oh, I'm an editor," I mean, try and get your hand on the work they have done to ensure that they are really doing, what they said they can do, so that you will not be disappointed. Okay, so how to get your book approved? Now you've determined whether you want to write for primary school or you want to write for secondary school. Now, how do I, go about it? So the first place to start is the Ministry of Basic and Secondary School Education in Ghana. That will be the PS, Permanent Secretary's Office. All you need to do is to go there, go to the Permanent Secretary's Office. Is usually the secretary, or you know how government work is. Usually the person that assists the secretary. They will give you a sample letter. You write a letter to the permanent secretary stating, telling them about your book. You want to apply that this book should be reviewed for primary school or secondary school. You list it there, whether it's for primary school, whether it's, they will give you a sample. Just ask the man, an assistant secretary, an admin person there. They'll give you a sample, you type it, makes 3 or 4 copies, you submit it, you keep your own copy. Then from there, you go to the Lagos State Ministry of Education curriculum. So if you're based in Lagos, you know where the High Court is close to, you pass the High Court close to Bishop Vining. That's where you have the curriculum department. It's actually located in one public school, but I can't remember the address. I mean, I can always you can always Google it, the curriculum. And if you get to the Ministry of Basic and Secondary School, the PS office, they'll give you the address. So you go there, they will now give you, list the procedure. So the procedure, I mean, 4 copies of your book. You submit 4 copies of your book. But before you can do that, you have to make some payments to the bank, your tax payments, and you make some photocopies of different things. The lady there will give you a list and you submit. So when you submit your book, you would wait for the selection process. And I can assure you that if you follow this simple procedure of choosing whether it's primary school or secondary school. Okay, so let's look at what happened to me. Pardon me, let me get my, okay. So when I went to submit my book, I went with only one book, which was My Name is a picture book with so many pictures. And I felt, oh, this book was, I mean, well written. I want this book to be in every school, blah, 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 blah. And Duma was like, why don't you just bring in all your books, right? So as at that time, I had not done, The Gods Are Finished. My editor just finished it, So I decided to just print like 4 copies and I put it in. Now, My Name is Dime was not accepted for primary school, whatever the case may be. But The Gods Are Strange is a literature book. It was accepted for drama. Okay, so you don't know which of your books will be selected. So if you have many books, I mean, there's a particular amount you pay for, I think maybe 6 books, 20 books. So if you have all your books, just push everything in, because honestly, you really know which one they would select. Another thing I would say is that why you should buy um the approved book list is that you realize that the literature book um in the primary school, they are tilted towards primary 5 and 6. So our picture books may not really fit into, I mean, for Lagos State, so may not really fit into what they are looking for. That's what I realized. Our picture books may not really fit, but still submit it. Still submit it, because you never know. That's the honest truth. But I'll still speak more on that. Um, Another thing, let me still talk about the picture book is, another thing about the picture book is on costs. When you have a picture book, right? We all know that printing is very expensive now. For a picture book to be nice, it has to be colored, right? So this book now, to print it, if, to print it is expensive. I mean, we're looking about two, if it's like maybe 500 copies, you're looking about maybe 2,000, or at this quality for it to be nice. You can't print it at this quality for public school. So I would advise you that if you want to do a picture book, make it a black and white sketch, so that whatever you are printing, that's, I'm telling you the honest truth now, whatever you're printing should be in black and white, so you're not printing colored. I'll get back to that when I talk about the challenges of partnering with government. So the selection period is usually over a year. In fact, in my case, I had thought they had forgotten, but you keep you keep getting in touch until it's out. And it depends. If they change commissioner in, they may delay to bring out the book. So these things, when it comes to government, you can't really determine, but just do your own work, put in the books, just wait. Okay, so opportunities for book adoption by government and organizations. Government, really, I would say that it's networking. So to be honest, I would just say is networking is who So if there are times that because for example in Lagos State they say that they do free education, because I also talk about that in the challenges as well. So they do free education, but from time to time, they may also give out free books to the students. So based on your relationship with them, they may include your book to distribute free to the children. Then for independent organizations, I mean, this is where the real deal is. You can always get any company, and I mean any company, to buy your books and donate. So it's even easier when you say, oh, my book has already been approved by Lagos State or whatever state you are in. Oh, my book is already in the approved book list, so it even makes it easier. And independent organizations are able to buy your books and donate. But all this, it's, pardon me, it's on networking, building relationship. So how do I build relationship in aspects to my books? It's basically just going for conferences, meeting people. Then I donate my books a lot. So I give out my books a lot. and I donate to different states. And so whenever I go for a conference and with my books, I'm giving them out, because for me is beyond the profits, is the fact that, oh, we're talking about, um, like I said, I'm passionate about what I do. So books I've written, it's about disability awareness, inclusion, empathy. I remember during the Goethe Institute program. The Goethe is a German institute, and they brought in a writing coach from Germany. And when she looked at what I had written, and she was like, no, no, no. All you're just writing is about persons with disability, persons with disability. Now, why don't you just write something different? Children having fun. I understood where she came from. But you see, we all have different, passion and mission in life. I believe that my own strongly is somebody else can write about, comics to laugh. Mine is just to create awareness through my writing, being the voice for children with disability. So I took her, in good faith. I took what she said in good faith. She said I should stop writing about children with disability. And I've written several after that, and I'm still going to write more after that, still on what I am passionate about. So yeah, that is it. So building relationship, be ready to give out your books, you know, to create awareness about what you're doing, basically. So now let's go to the challenges. Hmm. So that was what I said about cost of production. So for example, for the colored uh, picture book, if for example you have done your book, you may want to redo it into black and white. That's the honest, so that you can you can push down the cost. Now, this is where it gets real. I mean, you've passed all the hurdles of, oh, getting your book approved. Now that your book has been approved, right? And you think, oh, how I was celebrating, oh, my book is my in approved book list, da 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 da. So on opening the book list, okay, so let's finish about cost of production. So the truth about Lagos State is that they say, oh, it's free education. So these children, some of them they don't even buy books. Yeah, a lot of them do not buy books. So if you are lucky enough to crack the code for your book to be approved for exam class, by exam class, I say JSS 3, because SS3, they are writing WAEC, and WAEC is federal. But JSS3, I think that is localized. So if you can crack the code for your book to be in exam class, you buy. So if your book is not in exam class, usually, especially for, they can buy for maths. Usually, these children will buy maths and English. Literature is just by the side. That's for those that have the money or somebody is sponsoring their. So, um, so number one again is the cost. I mean, for them, any literature book that is beyond, 1K, 1.5, 2K, and you look at how fine your book is, and you're thinking of, 1 guinea, and this is just, I've not come to market, this is just cost of production. So that's what I'm saying, that if your book is colored, you need to, first of all, turn it to black and white. But it shouldn't be ugly, sharp, but so that means that if it's literature, I would advise you look for secondary school. That's my advice. That's one. Then cost of production, if it doesn't have picture self, it's better to help your cost of production. That doesn't mean that if you have other books, like I submit everything you have. But if you are not writing purposely for submission, I'm telling you what to do. But also mean that, oh, Bookie said they don't take black and white. Black and white. I didn't say that too, because they even approved this book, this literature book, Idia. Oh, I think I put it somewhere. It's very colorful. They approved it, but it's on the main book. On the main book list, it's on supplementary. Is it children that have not bought the main books that will go and buy supplementary? So I know what I'm saying. Now, on the school approvals, like I said, oh, when the list came out and told my books, I was celebrating and jubilating. This, so you can't say it. So my book came out in English drama. And under that list alone, you have 12 different books. Yes, accepted, 12. So out of that 12, it's now left for the schools through their districts to choose the ones that they want to use. They are not compelled to use your book, even though it has been approved. So that means that you now need to start marketing your book. Okay, you need to go to we have 6 districts in Lagos. We have one in we have in Ikoyi, we have in Yaba, we have in Ikorodu, we have in Badagry and Agege. So you may decide to go through the ministry to get to them, or you send them so you need to send them your books, send them your letters. They said that you should go and see them. Omo, I cannot. There's a list to the madness in government that I cannot do. So I just went through the ministry to do that. So you need to market them. You need to be able to if you can't do it, you can employ a marketer to do it for you. You can employ a marketer to do it for you. You can employ, there are some very known bookstores, Yaba and Udrelegba, that most of these students buy from. However, if it's in that Yaba and Udrelegba, if the 6 districts have not approved it, they may not choose it in the schools. So you see, government is also there, but if you are patient enough, you can do it. Nothing is too difficult if you are determined, you will do it. So I think I've focused on cost of production and the purchasing power. So because of the purchasing power of the children, you may really want to focus on getting organizations to buy your book so that you can donate it into the school. So like the marketing now, if you've gone through all those districts, the 6 districts, they passed it to the schools. Some people said they go to the school directly. So you may choose to go to the school directly too. And there's also the issue of piracy. So if, like I was speaking to a friend who is the marketing person for a known publisher. So he was like, that own book was approved for JSS3. So that's big money, because that means that all the children will need to buy, and they use the big stores in Yaba and Ujuelegba. And after a while, somehow these guys get these books, whether it's to China or to Aba, I don't know, but they come out with pirated copies. So the good thing is that by the time it comes out, maybe the first year, second year, you make your money, you forget about the other pirated copies. So the approved book list is about 3 years. So 23, 25, 26. Yeah. So no, 4 years from 2020, 2023 to 2026. So by next year, if you've not written that book, go and read it. Another submission comes up next year. So I've given you Kakafo to get your books ready. And like I said, just submit. all that you have because you never know, because they are human beings that will see, that will review. And to be honest with you, I did not know anybody. In fact, I went to meet someone that I just left it after submitting. I think it was a year later or something. I met someone. I was like, oh, I submitted. Is there anything you can do to help me? I was like, oh, if I had come a month earlier, that he had helped every other person. So I just said, okay, fine. He did help me nothing, and two of my books, came out. So if you do your work, quality, you understand. Like I said, you understand what they are looking for. Just buy the two this thing. You can buy one of the books to see what they are looking for. Choose subjects, you'll be fine. And so what next? Just write. By this is May. So by October, November, or March, January, just take a ride to, if you're not in Lagos, ask around your the Ministry of Education, and they would they will put you through. Okay, so all the best to everyone. Put in your books, write your books, do what you love to write, what you love to write. And I hope that I will see your name in next year's list. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Mrs. Bukola. That was very informative, and I'm glad that the house is full now, or fuller, as the case might be. We've learned quite a lot from you today. We've heard the good, the bad, and the ugly. And we like the fact that you said it is a tough one, but definitely a doable journey. And somebody told me last week, how strong is your desire? Your desire to achieve it is what is going to determine if you get to the other side of the journey. And in the last 30 minutes, you've told us your journey from being a youngster who loves to read and passing time by reading books to finding your strength in reading, attending a mentor course where you've been able to hone your writing skills, how you wrote your first book, Finding Nimi, and subsequently developing other books. You've told us how you met one of the naysayers who said, oh, why don't you have a more positive approach to the book? And I like the fact that you said, yes, to each his own. Mine is to shed a light in a very narrow tunnel where a lot of people don't see. I must completely agree with you because I live that life and not enough is being said about disabilities and family with children living with disability in Nigeria. So I applaud the fact that you've decided to stay true to yourself, and being true to yourself has found your books being approved by the Lagos State government. In your
Sorry,
workshop, you also talked
Ola.
about
Sorry,
that.
Ola. I
Yeah.
I omitted something. So you could also in marketing private private schools. So the issue with private schools is that some have they'll tell you, oh, well, strictly British curriculum, American curriculum. Then you have the Nigerian and British together. Then you have the Nigerian. So you can also market the schools that use the Nigerian syllabus alone, and the one that use the British and the Nigerian syllabus as well.
All right. So yes, so that's a very good one to note. So in your submission, you told us about the getting the approved book list from Lagos State government and the possibility of using this same skills, this same knowledge across other states. So you talked about the difference between the primary school processes and the secondary school processes. You want to determine the quality of the product you want to put out there because you may have to compromise when it comes to providing school books for primary schools or secondary schools in Lagos State where there is free education. So you want to look at the economic well-being of the parents that are going to buy the books. And you talked about the fact that yes, you can make a lot of money when you provide books or when your books are approved for classes that are writing exams like GSS3. However, SS3 has to do with the federal government, and that is a different ball game entirely. You talked about the submission process, which can take about a year. So if you're going to take on this journey, you must be patient and you must be ready to walk the talk. You talked about networking and how important it is in this journey, going back to the council, well, not local government or the board in charge of education in Lagos State, following up, going to their events, building this relationship with them because you don't know what is going to happen. You encouraged us to submit as many books as possible because you don't know which book you will be submitted. In your own experience, the book that you had all the hopes for was not the one that was picked. Eventually, you did have one that was picked. You mentioned the fact that in some cases, we as children book authors that have so many pictures in our book, it may or may not be what the government is looking for. So it's very important that we take time to do our research in order to produce a product that the market is going to demand for. You went on to talk about voluntary contribution of books, giving your books out to not only Lagos State but to different states, because the more the books travel, the more the book will travel. And we talked about private organizations and how they can be the low hanging fruits. And that is where I have more experience. Private organizations are truly, truly low hanging fruits. You know, they are easy to talk to, easy to get your books purchased, and easy to run through the process. And above all, you said, have faith, stay strong, and keep on fighting. Thank you very much, Mrs. Bukola. We truly appreciate your knowledge. We truly appreciate the fact that you've taken time to share your experience with us. We're 4 minutes gone past our time. At this junction, I'm going to have to say a thank you to our guest, Mrs. Bukola Ayinde. We truly appreciate all you've done for us this evening, the information, the knowledge, and the experience you have shared with us. We thank every single one of our attendees, and with asking you to please follow ACAIN on all social media platforms, keep in touch with us, and continue to do what you do best. Thank you, and have a good evening, everybody.